We're learning Mishna Yevamos, Parak Dalet, chapter 4, Mishna Yud, Mishna Yud Aleph. Thank you. Mishna 11. Okay. Arba Achin Nesu and Arba Noshim. 4 brothers married to 4, each one married to 4 women. It's just 4 brothers that are married. That's all. Don't get too excited yet. Arba Achin Nesu and Arba Noshim. 4 brothers married to 4 women. V'meisu. They all died. And they all died without children. Imratza Gadol Shebahem Liyabim Eskulan Arishus Biyadai. We know that the mitzvah falls upon the oldest brother, and if the older brother wants to do the mitzvah of Yibum with all of them, because again, each brother, it's a separate mitzvah of Yibum. The oldest brother, the oldest remaining brother, has the mitzvah of Yibum. So if he wants to, he can be Yibum all of them. It's not like you only do one, you do one, and the next brother does the next. It doesn't have to be that way. The oldest brother, who has the mitzvah, and each one is its own mitzvah, he can do all 4. That's what it means. Arishus biyadai, he's got permission to do it. Now, the Bartanura points out 2 things. Number 1, if he marries all 4, he's got to be able to support all 4. That's number 1. He's got to be able to support them. They're not sisters. No sisters here. They're just 4 women, unrelated. So if he wants to marry all 4, he can marry all 4. As long as he can support them, he can marry them. The Mishnah, interestingly, is also saying the following. And I'll read here from the bottom the way they say it. Actually, he may marry even more than 4 widows if he can support them all. Not only 4. However, the Mishnah means to advise not to perform Yibum with more than 4 widows. So that marital relations, which in the case of a Torah scholar typically takes place once a week, will take place with each wife at least once a month. So it's more about being able to fulfill all your obligations to these women that the Mishnah says the number 4 is the advisable number to go up to. Next. Mi shayanasri l'shtei noshim. Person was married to 2 wives. He had two women. He had 2 wives. V'meis, and he dies. Dies without children. Both of them fall for Yibum. Bi'asa chalitzasa shalachas mehen b'teres sarasa. The bia, the cohabitation, meaning the actual mitzvah doing Yibum, or doing chalitza to one of them, exempts the other. Meaning once you do, it's your choice. There's 2 wives here. The point is that once you do Yibum or chalitza to one wife, the other one is freed. And that is based on the Torah's words. Based on the Torah's words, we derive that basically the Torah says that you should build the bias, you should, so to speak, establish the house of your brother. And the Gemara explains that to mean you do 1 house, not 2 houses. Which means you do 1 wife, not both. So this applies. Now the point is, that's the pasuk by Yibum. By Yibum, the Torah tells us you do 1, not both. What about chalitza? Maybe I should do chalitza to both? And that the answer is again, based on the words of the Torah, we have a rule. If a woman would have the possibility of Yibum done to her, then chalitza is done to her. If there is no possibility of Yibum to be done to her, then there is no chalitza. So over here in this case, the same way you wouldn't do Yibum on both, you don't do chalitza on both. And therefore, the Yibum or the chalitza on one exempts the other. Now, Haisa achas kasher achas pasula. One woman, one wife was permitted to his brother who had died to marry, and the other one wasn't. The other one was psula. She was invalid. We're talking about a Kayin. Kayin had 2 wives. One wife he was allowed to be married to. The other one he wasn't allowed to. She was a grusha. She was a divorcee. Not allowed to marry a divorcee, but he married her anyway. And being that the prohibition of a divorcee to a Kayin is a lav, it's a prohibition, doesn't carry karis, doesn't carry that punishment, so she's not an erva. And the kedushin that you make on her, the marriage you make on her, is a valid marriage. It's forbidden what you're doing, but it's a valid marriage. So now, if this brother, the Kohen, who was married to one kosher wife or one not kosher wife, dies without children, and both those wives now fall to Yibum, because we learned previously, if the wife of your brother that's falling to you, it was prohibited to him or to you with a lav, with a prohibition of a lav, with just a prohibition. the Kedushin, the brother was married to her, and therefore she falls to Yibam. You have a Yibam connection to her. You got to deal with it. So in this case, where you've got one wife that was kosher, one wife that wasn't, Im haya chaylitz, if the brother decides to do chalitza, chaylitz l'psula, do the chalitza on the wife that was not kosher. Why? Because the wife that wasn't kosher to Kohanim, she remains that way. If you do chalitza to the kosher wife, you know what you do now? What you've done now is you've invalidated her to marry a Kohen. She can marry a Kohen as a widow, but once you do chalitza to her, now there's a rabbinic prohibition for a Kohen to marry a woman who had chalitza. Just like the Torah forbade a grusha, a woman who was divorced, to marry the Kohen, the Rabbanan said a chalutza, a woman who had chalitza, is similar, looks like a woman who had a get, who had a divorce, and we say that she can't marry a Kohen. So basically, you had a choice who to do chalitza on. The one that could remarry a Kohen and the one that anyway can't marry a Kohen. So why are you doing chalitza to the woman who can marry a Kohen and mess it up for the other Kohanim? Do the chalitza on the one that is anyway invalid to Kohanim, and her chalitza is a real chalitza because she has a Ibim connection, and that will exempt the other one. And the other one, if she wants to, she can marry a Kohen. So therefore, the Mishnah says, Ima Yachalitz, if in this case he's doing chalitza, chalitza psula, does chalitza on the invalid one. If he's doing yibam, we have l'kshera. Understandably, he does yibam on the kosher one, because the same way your brother couldn't be married to her, you're also a kohen. You also can't be married to her. So therefore, you don't do yibam to her. You do yibam to the one that is kosher for a kohen to marry. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Chofetz Chaim. Now, v'da the kashem shekasav the b'shem ha'poiskim. The same way as we have written that, according to Torah law, it's forbidden to believe any kind of derogatory statements being made about one's friend. Even if you know what this person is saying is true, you know it's true. Okay, so so what's the point? But the point is, it's possible to judge this thing that your friend did in different ways. The one who's saying the story, he didn't give the person the benefit of the doubt. He judged the person unfavorably for this act. And because of that, he degrades the person, he derides the person. And it's known that it's a mitzvah for the person hearing this to, on the contrary, give the benefit of the doubt, to judge him favorably, to give it a positive look. Now, the person who doesn't give the benefit of the doubt, and instead he agrees and listens, and agrees to the gnus, to the derogatory statement being made, which again is taken as derogatory because no one is giving him the benefit of the doubt, not judging him in a more favorable manner. Not only are you transgressing the Torah's commandment of judge a person righteously or favorably, he is also falling under the category of someone who believes, who accepts Lashon Hara. Being that now you may have known the piece of information, but you're not giving her the benefit of the doubt, because of that, now these words that are being said as a derogatory statement about the person. So you may know that you may know what happened, but this person who's saying it over, he's not giving the person the benefit of the doubt. You could, and if you did, and if you would, you wouldn't be accepting it. You wouldn't be approaching it as Lashon Hara. But if you did, so at the end of the day, you didn't give the benefit of the doubt, and you accepted Lashon Hara. Have a wonderful day.